What is the Lithium Regional Innovation Cluster, and
Sure.
what is its goal?
The Lithium Regional Innovation Cluster, we call it the LRIC. It's actually a U.S. Small Business Administration funded initiative led by the Startup Junkie Consulting, our group. And the goal is to drive innovation and entrepreneurial growth within the lithium and the critical mineral sector across the Smackover Formation. So this is really multiple states. It's southern Arkansas, it's northern Louisiana, it's a little bit of northeast Texas, and it's a little bit of Mississippi, wherever that formation goes. We do serve startups, small businesses, ecosystem partners. We accelerate commercialization. We strengthen the overall value and supply chain for lithium. And the whole goal is to drive and create high wage rate jobs in energy innovation. That's a little broader than just extraction. The whole idea when we started to think about this is how do we build a growth and an innovation cluster, something we've been doing for 17 years that can be lasting and be more than just about improved extraction from that brine. And so that's really what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and with that, they're going to come, the whole supply chain, so to speak, or logistical chain around lithium and clean energy, all the way to and including workforce development needs that will arise as a result of some of that work as well.
So, what was your catalyst for launching the cluster? I mean, what was the thing that you saw that we really needed as we try to build this industry, and how do you think this can meet that need?
Yeah, that's actually a great segue. And part of it was, as you're probably aware, we competed for and won the Arise contract, previously referred to as Innovate Arkansas. And as part of that proposal with Arkansas Economic Development Commission, we said in order to make this lasting impact on tech and tech-enabled growth within the state, we need to focus on areas where there's already the beginnings of a cluster of strength or activity. And clearly, lithium is one and steel is the other in Northeast Arkansas. And so, given that we had had a long history with the Small Business Administration of competing for these competitive solicitations to build regional innovation clusters, when the next award cycle came up, we went ahead and applied and were successful. The goal was let's figure out how to best build on this unique lithium rich brine resources we have in Smackover. And then there's also an element of urgency here to develop a resilient domestic lithium supply chain that's going to be critical for energy and national security. And again, it's a lot more than thinking, well, it's all about EVs and regardless of where people are on that. Lithium batteries are used in all modern electronics and in all kinds of applications. And Arkansas needs to be a central player in that. And we need to be a central player in that in Arkansas and the surrounding regions by virtue of attracting the best businesses from around the country and around the globe and building the best businesses that spin out of local universities to really create something that's lasting.
And I would add to that, you've got multiple contingencies that we serve as conveners for in a variety of other settings. Why couldn't we serve as conveners for them in these settings as well? From corporate organizations to investors to entrepreneurs to university researchers, all of whom are going to be needed and integral to bringing this lithium play forward.
Mhm. So, it sounds like you guys are sort of in the middle of all those groups. Is that kind of what this
Yeah.
looks like in
Yeah.
practice?
Mhm.
It is. I mean, it is when you think about the innovation cluster. We have historically been the leaders of the Ozarks Regional Innovation Cluster in Northwest Arkansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and Southwest Missouri. And the whole idea there was to be a national convener around supply chain retail related activities. That was really in the beginning the catalyst for what got a lot of the ecosystem up here going. It's the same sort of thing down there, and it doesn't stop with state lines. I mean, we have drug in stakeholders from Texas, from Louisiana, and from Mississippi. And if in this case, if we get this where it needs to be, with Arkansas being the center of it, it's going to benefit those states as well. And it's what I would call a super regional approach across borders for resource sharing, the scaling of infrastructure, technology in a coordinated way.
But here in Arkansas, I think we've been so focused on Arkansas, making sure Arkansas gets its way or gets its piece of the pie built, that I've wondered how that will play out when you start pulling in people from Texas and Louisiana, and particularly Texas, which I think Arkansas is a little bit, we don't want to lose out opportunities to other states.
That can all be worked through in the following way. So, for example, when we went out and recruited the 53 lithium regional innovation cluster ventures, they're not all from Arkansas. They're national, in some cases international. And the reason why is some of those pieces that you need in cathode anode manufacturing, in advanced manufacturing, in advanced technology extraction, those are not just concentrated here. And to have a successful cluster, you think about that as an industry convening where the focal point is clearly going to be in South Arkansas. That's where a lot of the economic development will be. But you're foolish not to reach out to other areas and even other countries, like what goes on in Seoul, South Korea, as an example, where they're going to be a big consumer and also provider of technology for lithium related applications. So we've taken that kind of holistic view, and we know that it's going to have some substantial impact on South Arkansas, but we're going to be involved with every aspect of workforce, technology, and then the large enterprise competitive advantage. Many of those large enterprises already being here, like ExxonMobil, Albemarle, and others.
Mm-hmm. In terms of those 53 companies that you're talking about, what do we find in that portfolio? What are these companies doing? What kind of companies are they? What are their goals?
You'll find companies in there that have proven processes for cathode manufacturing. And some of them are tied to the region in that they're going to need the lithium that gets extracted, but they may actually put manufacturing in surrounding states, as an example. You'll find servicers. So think about the folks that have typically done oil and gas servicing. There's going to be a lot of servicer work as these fields begin to get developed and the extraction begins to get done. There will be companies that are really good at coming up with unique and clean processes for chemical production. There's one that's based out of Houston that provides supporting chemicals that are needed for some of these processes. And they have some things that are going to help with that direct lithium extraction and making it cleaner and even better. So it's a mixed bag of conventional servicer businesses, super high tech businesses, manufacturing entities, and everything in between.
Yeah, I would add just on that servicer side, when the Fayetteville shale play reduced its activity considerably, well, those people still exist, but they've pivoted into other things like broadband. Some of them have pivoted to other things, and they have some of the experience. I would call it ancillary and related types of experiences that they could bring to the actual extraction fields and provide some of those services as well. So helping them get connected has been something that we've been focused on as well.
Well, in terms of some of the companies you mentioned, ExxonMobil, Albemarle, Standard Lithium, Tetra, these big players that are kind of establishing themselves or have been established for a long time already anyway, what have they signaled that they need out of these young companies that you guys are assembling?
Yeah, and that work is still largely in progress, but there have been lots of conversations to say, what are the gaps? What are the pieces that are missing as you look at the value chain? What are the enhancements that are needed in your extraction processes? And what are the pieces that are missing in the area? A good example would be they want to attract talent in. There's nowhere for them to live. We've got to get some housing work going. So it's totally kind of unrelated to the technology or the value chain, but a very critical aspect of the infrastructure that has to occur. The workforce piece, they got to have the workforce. They've got to have people that are knowledgeable. And so there's lots of efforts around lithium works going in. We're at the early stages of getting feedback and input from these larger players. And we found the dialogue to be really productive so far in terms of driving the kinds of things that we target and the sorts of folks that we talk to.
So what kind of specific resources does this entity offer these 50 companies or so?
Yeah. Well, one of them, a very critical part of it is going to be the ability to convene, right? So on a regular basis, pulling the groups together for conversations, for collaboration, that's something that we've had a history of being pretty good at. And then for the earlier stage companies in particular, we're developing a robust group of subject matter experts that are not just based in Arkansas, but that are kind of across the country. And right now we have 21 dedicated subject matter experts that are going to be available. So it's a subject matter expertise, it's a convening, it's also the sharing of opportunities.
Our network goes beyond entrepreneurs and corporate entities as well. We're pretty plugged into the universities. And so, if we've got researchers that are doing ancillary or related types of research that we can provide them assistance with their small business innovation research grant proposals or their STTR proposals or what have you, we have some subject matter expertise, and also other connecting them to other subject matter experts that can help them with that. But also, as we are directly involved with Cadron Capital Partners, our investment fund, we're sourcing deals from, quite frankly, all over the world. And if we've constantly got a keen eye and ear open to, is this something that could be beneficial to whatever in Arkansas that's going on? It happens to be we're talking about lithium today, but it could be other technologies that are going on within the state as well. We're looking to make those connections. So convener and connector, I'd say, is probably number one.
In the popular opinion, everybody in Arkansas sort of has an idea of what's going on in South Arkansas with lithium, but what's sort of the number one thing that you want everyone to know about what's taking shape in South Arkansas?
I think it's a couple things. So if you look at the sort of the economic growth in Arkansas, a lot of the focus the last 25 years has been in Northwest and in Central Arkansas, largely around large clusters of population. We have some unique assets in the Smackover Formation, and quite frankly, in what's going on with steel production in Mississippi County. The number one thing I want the rest of Arkansas to know is that this lithium industry is not just going to be about extraction. It's going to be about building a resilient, innovation-driven economy that provides high wage rate growth and a better standard of living all across a part of the state that has largely been, in many ways, you could say, forgotten or has been less fast growing than other areas in the state. I mean, that's the number one thing. I would also say there's going to need to be a fair amount of patience, because building these kinds of clusters, look at the retail cluster, supply chain cluster in Northwest Arkansas, that's been 65 years in the making from the time Walmart got started. This is going to be a multi-generational thing, but we're going to make it happen. And a lot of the activity will live well beyond Jeff and my time in terms of helping drive it.
I would say, to Jeff's point on the generational patience, look at the timber industry, which has predominantly been in South Arkansas, right? I mean, that goes back, it predates some of the towns in South Arkansas, right?
Yes.
And it was that timber industry. So this is kind of that long play as well on the lithium side, is, maybe the new timber industry, so to speak, for that part of our state. And so expect it to be here, but expect it to take some time to develop to its full capability.
Well, Jeff Amerine and Jeff Standridge of the Lithium Regional Innovation Cluster, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.